country this week as voters head to the polls in several closely watched races, with New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani testing his influence within the Democratic Party through a series of high-profile endorsements, setting up a political showdown with prominent Democrats, including Kathy Hochul and Tish James. Meanwhile, in South Carolina, Donald Trump has endorsed both Republican candidates in a gubernatorial runoff, saying that either would be a strong choice for governor. Let's discuss and bring in our guest this morning, Pollster, CEO and partner at McLaughlin and Associates, John McLaughlin, and Washington and White House reporter for Politico, Daniel Littman. Thank you both for joining us this morning. The Mamdani-backed Democratic Socialist candidate, Daria Liza Alzalia Chevlari, on illegal immigrants with criminal records.
We need to make sure that if we really value equality in this country, that we are treating people equally, regardless of where they were born. It cannot both be that a person who has citizenship is tried and convicted in one way, and a person who does not have citizenship is tried, convicted, and then forced to also endure another type of punishment on the basis of where they were born.
I mean, John, could Daria Liza Avila Chevalieri, with backing from Zohran Mamdani, pull off an upset against five-term incumbent Adriano Espeleta?
Well, according to some Democrat polls, she's ahead right now. But she's running against Congressman Espeleta, who's the head of the Hispanic caucus. He's the leader of the Hispanics in Congress, and they're spending heavily to try to beat her. Yesterday in the press, she was asked 4 times by a reporter if murderers should go to jail, and she couldn't give an answer. And the answer about illegal immigrants was absolutely bizarre because they're broken the law to be here. But she comes from a strain of Mamdani, AOC socialism, where they think illegal immigrants should be able to vote in our elections. They think they should be able to get free health care, free food, free housing, and they're the big government socialists who are bringing it about. So you've got that race, you've got Brad Landers leading Congressman Goldman, and then you've got the race on the upper west side of Manhattan, where you've got Assemblyman Boras against Michael Lasher, and you've got the Democrat socialists in New York making a major play to influence their party with these elections. And Hakeem Jeffries is on the sideline, and Mamdani's out front, taking out his incumbents.
So one thing that both candidates seem to have in common is that they're rooting for a team other than the United States to win the World Cup.
But what do you think will win it all? Who are you rooting for?
I like Mexico.
Mexico, there you go.
I'm rooting for Senegal.
Senegal, okay.
Well, America is doing just fine without their rooting interests, having already advanced to the round of 32. So, Daniel, in your opinion, would Chevalier winning be a game changer for Mamdani's growing influence within the party?
I think it would help. It is kind of ironic that someone like Adriano Espeleta, he actually endorsed Mamdani. There's pictures of him at events before Mamdani was elected. But that was 8-9 months ago, and Mamdani has changed his mind. And so there are some Democrats who are worried that all of these extreme statements by some of these Dems will be used against them in other races, more competitive races across the country. And so that's definitely a concern for Democrats, because they feel like they have the wind at their back given the Iran conflict and prices, that they don't want these types of people dragging them down elsewhere.
I mean, Daniel, do you see that these 3 Mamdani-backed candidates as a part of a broader test on whether this whole socialist-aligned Democrat agenda or the more traditional liberal Democrats currently hold the upper hand within the party?
I don't think they hold the upper hand. It's kind of isolated to states like California, particularly LA, New York. In Iowa and Maine, they're not DSA candidates that are surging. And so the majority of the party is more moderate and more centrist. But this is a trend among young people, especially young Democrats and progressives, who say, hey, Republicans have gone far right and radical. We need to do the same.
Hey, John, I want to move to the South Carolina's Republican gubernatorial runoff here. President Donald Trump has endorsed both Attorney General Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette. So how is this race likely to play out, in your opinion? Could Trump's more recent backing of Wilson be enough to shift momentum and secure him the victory?
I think so, but we put out a poll as of Friday. We did a poll on Wednesday and Thursday night, 500 likely voters in South Carolina, and Wilson was ahead 68 to 27.
Whoa.
She's upside down, not popular. There was all sorts of, speculation about how she got the endorsement, et cetera, like that. And it kind of diluted President Trump's endorsement. So I think that, President Trump is in key with his base. In South Carolina, I did the polling for President Trump in South Carolina during the primary. I had to tell him he was going to win the state by 20 points over Nikki Haley, who was the former governor. So this poll where Wilson's ahead 68-27, I think that's going to be pretty accurate. That's a pretty big margin, a lead outside the margin of error of the survey. So I think President Trump being in line with his base and what Republicans want to do, correctly, felt that this is what Republicans want him to do in South Carolina.
Significantly outside the margin of error there. John McLaughlin, Daniel Libben, thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, still to come, an IVF mix-up leads to a heartbreaking custody battle. Our